Hello and welcome to today's reading. My name is Janelle. I will be reading for the Twin Flame Collective. And this reading is going to be about the shadow energy between the twins and what exactly you should be working on right now on your journey. I want to give a disclaimer. This message is for those who know that they're on the twin flame journey. Either spirit source has told you, your inner knowing has informed you, or you have a trusted guide who's given you information that this person is a twin flame to you. I say trusted because oftentimes we can think of somebody as being trusted, but you have to use discernment. You know, the best readers for acknowledging that if you're in a journey or not of twin flame, understand that this is not a romantic journey. It's a journey of balancing the polarities between the masculine and feminine energy within yourself. And if both people align to their highest vibration and they choose to be with each other in a romantic way, then that energy will draw you back together and you will be potentially in a romantic relationship. That considers a lot of factors, and I want to just encourage, if you think you're on a twin flame journey, you should have some real knowing. You may not be 100% sure, and every day you might be, go back and forth, but 80% of the time, So if you can say 80% of the time that you're on a twin flame journey, you have all the signs, the downloads, the dark night of the soul, the spiritual alignment, attunement, ascension, then you're on that journey. If not, then I really want you to consider taking a look at what exactly is happening in the dynamic that you think is your twin flame. And when you are sure, come back to this reading. Okay. Thank you for being here. I pulled a couple of cards, archetype cards, and also the Thelema Tarot. And the first thing I noticed is that these two, although these are very different, this is the masculine energy, and this is the feminine. One says the sustainer, and I don't necessarily read what the cards are. I go by my intuition, what my downloads are, and what I got off of these two cards. They look similar, but they also look very different. But what I got off of these two cards, to start with the Divine Masculine, is that the Divine Masculine archetype, if you resonate as a Divine Masculine, you may have been raised in environments where the man, the husband, the father, takes on a lot of the role of either provider or caretaker for his partner. This man figure in your life may have been going to work, taking care of business, paying bills. But the shadow aspect of that was this person, again, male figure, may not have been connected to his inner feminine. And so he may have worked to pay all the bills and sustain the home, but he had his own shadow energy he didn't address. That can come out as addiction, as abuse, as neglect of the children and the partner, of ignoring the desires of the heart to do everything that needed to be done. Again, I go back to addictions because this has this really big dark blob in the center. Oh, Jesus, of this card. It's hard to pick up today. And it's a person holding something. I take it as a heart with a whole bunch of stone around it. So again, if you resonate with the Divine Masculine energy, and just let me know if you do resonate with this, that the sustainer, the provider of the home, had all these things they needed to do, but they were never in touch with their inner guidance, their inner self, their inner feminine, in touch with their emotions and their heart and what their desires were of their heart. Now, the Divine Feminine has a different version. Her shadow self is also available in the back, present, but her shadow energy that's being mirrored is that she may have been an overgiver. She may have given too much of her time, too much of her money, too much of her heart, too much of her energy to people, including her Divine Masculine, who didn't necessarily deserve it. They didn't win her trust. They didn't earn her trust, and she gave it anyway. So what I'm seeing here in this mirroring is that both people need to be focused on what their heart desires, what they need emotionally, not just what they can give to others or provide to others, but what they can provide to themselves, going all the way back to childhood. Whatever you didn't get in your childhood, you need to give it to yourself. And a part of that is reparenting yourself. So if you are in this codependent energy of being a workaholic, of being divine masculine being an addiction, giving to everything to support your family, your friends, and not giving back to your emotional needs, I suggest that you start looking at that very deeply, because the divine feminine was also doing that. And that's the energy of this dynamic. It's a mirroring effect. Does not feel like it, believe me. I know that it feels terrible to say, hey, this person's addicted to working, but I'm also addicted to not giving something back to myself. What am I not giving to myself enough that fills my emotional cup, that's being reflected in this action of this person? Does not feel good. I know that. So I'm honoring that it doesn't feel nice to have to look at those bits and parts and say, hey, what is this mirroring in me? Because everything's a mirror. But with the twin flame dynamic, it is highlighted greatly, okay? So go into the cards right now. What is this mirroring? First of all, there's patterns that for both that need to be closed out. The world says it's time to close out a cycle, okay? Because a new cycle needs to begin. And I feel like that cycle is for the divine feminine, overgiving, always extending her hand out of a codependent need to be extra helpful. And for the divine masculine, it's always being a provider, securing everything, making sure your partner has everything they need, or your kids have everything, or your parents have everything they need, without ever giving to yourself in a healthy way that fulfills your heart's desires and your heart's needs. And being stuck in the energy of always overgiving or over providing, your mirroring right now is to get out of this energy of being in an inverted, either feminine or inverted masculine. Again, that's like the wounded masculine. If you don't know what that is, I want you to go ahead and look that up. The wounded feminine. Getting out of that energy where you're codependent, or again, you're always providing. If you're the divine masculine, and then doing all these things on the side to fulfill that emotional need, like an addiction, drinking, sleeping around, smoking, overworking out, all these things. And as a divine feminine, getting out that energy of being an inverted feminine where you have to be codependent on people to feel good. You're overgiving, you're overextending yourself, you're over without giving to yourself in a healthy way. You got to get out that energy because it's keeping you stuck in your head. You got to get out. That cycle has to close. Pluto's moving into Aquarius tomorrow. This cycle, no more. Has to close out. We're getting into authenticity, shining our light, being in our truest authentic self. And the Queen of Wands in reverse, upright, she doesn't shy away from how magnetic she is, how powerful she is. No one's going to tell the Queen of Wands that she's not powerful. So I want you to really look at that. It's time to close out that cycle. And you both may feel, coming out of this energy, like someone just relearning how to use their truth, their integrity, their ability to see through things, their discernment. You may feel very juvenile in your discernment because you haven't used it. It wasn't something that was naturally provided to you. So you may feel like a person coming in brand new to this world as a page, which is the student of learning how to use your truth, your sword of truth, learning how to stand in your power, learning how to be discerning, learning how to know what's right and wrong, learning how to use your moral compass better than any, because now you're starting over once you've gotten off this energy, okay? You're not going to get necessarily to the King of Swords when you've mastered that until you become a page and relearn everything you do. This also could be both of them right now are either tuning into each other's energy and really get learning from each other a lot right now. This might be the time of being a student. So you're both learning from each other, from these shadow aspects of each other and what you need to be working on this journey. And finally, what you're mirroring is not trusting the divine, not trusting that source, God, angels, whatever you believe in will have your back. Not trusting that the time you spent in this space was worth something. The time you spent in this energy of inverted masculine, feminine, wounded masculine, feminine energy is building upon what you are designed to be. The reason why you met your twin flame was to awaken to your divinity. It was to balance the energies within yourselves. It was to be of embodiment of source. And that can take time, okay? I often tell people that I sometimes feel like a toddler on this journey. And not in a bad way, just in the way that, some of my teachers, some of my guides, my coaches, they are just so far along on this journey, I often feel very juvenile to them. And then when we chat, we talk, I'm like, wait, I am not a kid. I'm mastering this. I'm still a student of this earthly world. And I'm also still a soul that's learning lessons. So you're both mirroring this energy of not trusting the divine and not trusting that source has another plan for you. And I want you to consider, okay, is it time for me to start trusting the divine? I've been patient enough. Can I trust that the information I get from the universe is right? And it is time. Again, with Pluto moving into Aquarius tomorrow, the shakeups are going to start. It's time to be authentic. Okay. It is not the time to run and hide from your truth. It's time to be authentic. So I'm going to pull 2 cards of what else you're mirroring to each other at this time. This is the Soul's Journey lesson cards. Self-esteem. That's a good one. Yep, that's right. You're mirroring that, not trusting yourself, not trusting your intuition. And lastly, regret. You're mirroring you're mirroring the regret that you've wasted a lot of time, but you haven't. Everything's for a purpose, okay? There is no regret. This tells us to focus on the lower 3 chakras. You see all this red and orange energy. Focus on those lower 3 chakras. Ground that energy. Your root chakra is where it all began, 0 to 18 months. That's where you learned everything about connection and financial stability and trusting in yourself. Of course, when you're that little, you really can't trust, but you're trusting in your parents. Or when you cry, they will come to you. A lot of times, and a lot of divine masculines didn't have that energy growing up. Again, they might have had the dad or the provider, even the mom who was checked out, working, overworking. So now they're in this space where they're like, okay, I got to provide because that's all my family needs. And in reality, we need whole embodied people. The soul is imperfect, is very perfect. The soul is perfect. You know, the human body needs to catch up. Will we ever be perfect? No, but the soul is perfect. So the soul knows what lessons you need. And finally, we have the Freedom card. That's speaking your truth. Standing in your power. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. Again, once you get out of this energy of mirroring these dynamics that you learned, okay, now you're going to unlearn them. You're going to close out the cycle. You're going to become a student of life. Okay, once you meet your twin flame, you awaken to all this stuff. Like, you're like, oh, wait, okay, I'm a soul. I'm a soul that came here to learn a lesson. I'm a soul that can manifest my heart's desires. I'm a soul that has purpose, that has meaning. And you become a student of that. And you start to trust. And it's funny, this fell on the ground and turned upright. You start to trust the divine. And then you will get your freedom. But it's all a journey. It's all a process. It's all an experience. It doesn't need to be rushed, even though you want to rush it at a certain point. I know after being on this journey for 5.5 years, I've wanted to rush through this. But I sort of started over this year and getting more support from a spiritual teacher of mine who I trust highly. If you ever want to book with her, her information's in on my YouTube page. You can go and look for it. Her name is Lily, but she does some amazing work with spiritual people and people who are on the ascension path and twin flames. So again, we're mirroring this energy of overgiving or overworking or addiction or not giving enough to ourselves. But once we move to the cycle of closing the cycle, getting out this energy of stuckness, of not feeling empowered, stuck in our head about things, getting into this learner process, being a learner, being a student of life, of the soul, of the journey, then you start trusting the divine. You will see that you will reach your freedom and it will be very fast. It won't take forever. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading today. I'm so grateful for you to be here. Let me know if any of this resonates, if you see this within the patterns of your twin flame dynamic. And if you feel like you're on the twin flame journey, you're not sure, let me know that too. Let's talk about that. Hope you have a good day.